Looking forward to this.
I've just started putting posts out. How ready we are, not sure, but we've started.
I've never seen this SteamYard. This looks interesting.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's nice and easy to use for setting anything up. So we are now live. I'm just going to get the video up on here, and I think we'll get this all started. One second, everyone. We're just kicking this off. If you guys give us wave, make sure you can hear us. Just let us know, and we'll get cracking with this. I know there is a slight delay with this as well, so I think we can be heard as well. So to start with, today we have two of the founders from Alpha Traders Country Club. Very, very smart guys. Great project they have over there. If you guys haven't already checked them out, please do. I think we posted their Discord handles, Twitter handles, and all of the posts we've been putting out about them. So they were very, very kind enough to give us some assistance when we had that incident a couple of weekends ago as well. So I mean, they're a great team, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this masterclass today. And if you are, a whale holder, don't worry, this is recorded, so you can just refer back to this at any time. So if you've got to drop out or any time, this is a recorded video, so it's always going to be here. But I'll pass it off to you guys to kick it off, give an intro about yourselves. And thank you very much once again for taking the time to, present this to the whales.
We appreciate it. I'm really excited about it. I woke up this morning and I messaged Martin. I was like, we're going. Today's the day. So we're excited. So, Martin, do you want to kick us off a little bit about yourself, and then we can jump into myself, and then about Alpha Traders, and then we can sort of move from there.
Yeah. Well, first, what I'd like to do is briefly go over what we're going to discuss for this hour. We want you to come away with this with a better understanding of how we invest in NFTs and how we think is a winning strategy when investing in NFTs. And that's going to be looking at things from the standpoint of a venture capitalist. So we're going to be looking at what does that mean? What's the difference between flipping, trading NFTs, investing versus being, wearing the venture capitalist cap. We're also hoping to explain to you the checklists and the due diligence that we go through when we make investments for our club, and hopefully deliver a winning strategy for you guys. We have a treasury, a fund that we invest in NFTs. Just in the last 2 months, even though we're in a bear market, we're up over 100% on our investments. And so we want to hopefully, from our background, provide some of that strategy and knowledge for you guys. My name is Harry. I'm co-president of Alpha Traders Country Club. That's what ATCC stands for. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. I lived in China for also about 10 years, where I learned Chinese and started a Chinese business of selling tea products. And so I went through an incubator process. I had a business plan, did pitching all around to different investors, joined an accelerator program from Bits and Bytes in Shanghai. And it was there that I really got to get a good sense of what it meant to be a venture capitalist. I got to see what they were interested in when they were investing in us. And we went and took that all the way to A-round funding, and still running that company. Because of the pandemic, I've been mostly in the US the last few years. Since the pandemic, only been in the US. But that also allowed opportunities for me to do other things, like trade stocks full time, which is what I've been doing. And then recently, we started this NFT club to take our background of venture capital entrepreneurism, and as well as stock trading, into the Web3 space, into crypto, and into NFTs. Tyler, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Your resume impresses me every time. I love it. I get really inspired. But so I'm Tyler Jordan, co-founder of Alpha Traders Country Club. A little bit like Martin, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 2 or 3 years, full time, part time for the last probably 6 years. I'm from Australia. Before coming over to America, I co-ran a civil construction company, dealing with tens of millions of dollars every year in earth moving equipment, and civil high rises and things like that. So I made the jump. I was trading stocks and crypto whilst back home in Australia, and actually made the jump over to America to go full time into that and into entrepreneurship, in general, which is where Alpha Traders come about. Myself and Martin kind of linked up and thought, we've got a wealth of knowledge, and we've got an incredible connection and an incredible network as well of people that we know and people that we've met on both of our journeys and our journey together. So, there's no reason why we can't be coming together and sharing as much of that as we can, and trying to create, a platform of go-getters and budding entrepreneurs themselves. So that's a little bit about myself. Do we want to kind of jump straight in? Two things I wanted to say. One thing is that we do have a bit of a structure to this, and we are going to be hitting a lot of points, but I posted it in the Discord, in the YouTube there. Please type out your questions. If there's any point where we have a second or we're in between points, we would love to answer some questions. If there's anything you don't quite understand, excuse me, we can break it down a little bit further. But yeah, please, this is interactive. Throw your questions in there. The second part is we have quite a big giveaway to any Hydro Whales holders at the end of this session. It's probably going to go for around an hour. So if you are a Hydro Whales holder, there is going to be a pretty big announcement at the end of this, and a bit of a nice little giveaway for you guys. So stick around, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. So you're on mute, Martin.
Awesome. So let's dive in, and I think by the end we can go a little bit more. When we're doing some Q&A, talk a little bit more about what we do. But to get started right into the content, I want to have a mental exercise here where we kind of categorize the different types of investors. And one thing that became very clear to us when we went from stock trading into NFTs, it's a very different animal, and that is because when you are trading stocks, you are trading price movement. You are trading the science of buyers and sellers, the behaviors of buyers and sellers. And so we're looking for quick flips, essentially. When you're a stock trader, you're flipping. And that is what a lot of people come and do in the NFT space. And that's not investing. So we want to make sure that's clear, that what we want to talk about is why I basically stopped mostly all of my flipping in the NFTs, because coming from the stock trading background, where there is so many tools and indicators and liquidity, you can gain enough knowledge, and the industry is mature enough to where you can make high probability trades. Now with the NFT space, what are those? All those things that I just mentioned are very immature. The amount of data you can collect, the price history that you can collect, it's all limited. It's getting better, but the idea that you're going to be able to buy and flip off of volume, off of price, making sure there's enough liquidity, it's really high stakes gambling, at least from the standpoint of what we used to be doing in stocks.
I mean, it's very much like trying to flip on an IPO of a stock that's only got a couple of hundred buyers. It's essentially no different to that. There's no volume there. When you're in a stock or a crypto, you're looking for hundreds of thousands of millions of buyers. And you're trying to do it now in NFTs with 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 buyers. It's
but even with an IPO, I think that's kind of discrediting the amount of effort that goes into an IPO. Is that these are companies that have been running usually at least years, and they have multi-million-dollar market caps that big banks have vetted and are doing, an issuance of shares to the public. You don't get any of that protection with NFTs. So to be buying off of it, trading it like a stock or like a flip, is something that some people have done. It worked really well, especially last year, because it was just a bull market for anybody. So anything you bought, you could potentially make money. And I think a lot of people are realizing now that it's not how NFTs are always going to be. And that leads us to, well, what is an NFT project? And once we understand what an NFT project is, we can decide how we're supposed to invest in it. And essentially, I'm sure the Hydra World community here is intelligent. This is one of our biggest investments, by the way, from our treasury. So we're huge fans of this club. It's essentially a startup company, right? These are a group of people that have come together to create some type of product, some type of vision that they as a collective want to achieve. So you're essentially investing in an idea. Most NFT projects are founders looking to fundraise and essentially acquire investment to fulfill their startup company, to kickstart their startup company. Now, knowing that, as an investor, what is that most similar to? There is an industry that does that. It's called venture capitalism. And they have a very highly skilled and mature industry that has kind of developed techniques, and there's proof of concept of what type of venture capitalist approaches work. So without further ado, what is a venture capitalist? A venture capitalist is an investor or a group of investors that are investing in startup businesses. And I think right now, all of you, whether you realize it or not, are venture capitalists. So we're not telling you to be anything different. We're just telling you what we are. And we can give you some tips in order to really embrace that title and become a better investor. What that leads to is expectations are very different from an investor of a startup versus a stock trader or a flipper or an NFT collector for art. When we're talking about investing in NFT projects that have a business model, you need to realize this is as high stakes and high risk as it gets. So if you're a trader of a stock and you tell me that I can double my money by buying this stock, I'm ecstatic. 100% return, that is great for a stock trader. Now, if you go to a venture capitalist and say, hey, I got a business you can invest in, double your money, they probably won't do it. Not impressive. Because venture capitalists, they expect 20x, 30x, 40x returns. They realize this is such a high risk environment. Most people with visions are going to fail. You look at the SBA statistics for small businesses and startups, 9 out of 10 are going to not succeed. So knowing that when you're investing your capital into these businesses, you have to make your return on investment sometimes only on, 1 or 2 out of the 20 companies that you invested in. So you have to recoup that, which is minimums of 20x. There's also an expectation difference in terms of time frame. When you're investing in an NFT project, people are looking to be able to flip, and they want their NFT to increase by 100% in a few weeks. What kind of expectations? Where is that expectation coming from? Because when you're a venture capitalist and you're investing in a business, we know that it's going to take time. It's going to take years for that business to develop. And so the time horizon that you invest in needs to be much longer than what the NFT space, for most NFT space people, expect. when you have a product that you want to develop, like hydro wells is a great example, they have to invest in machinery. They have to have time to mine the coins. They need time to build out and unlock different stages of their roadmap. That takes time. So you need also to realize that this is a much longer time frame, which is another reason why you need to have much higher expectations of the gains you're going to make. So 20x, okay, let's put that in the back of your head. And that can take how long, Tyler?
Years.
3, 5 years. That's a great turnaround. That's what most venture capitalist firms, when I talked to when I was pitching in Shanghai, that's what they're looking for. They want an exit within 5 years. With the addition to add on, they can continue to invest more, and they can continue to increase their returns. But at minimum, they're looking for that 20x. So when you go into the NFT space and you're looking for quick flips, I think you're looking at the space with unrealistic expectations. Now, what's really cool about NFTs versus, being a traditional venture capitalist is that we have the benefit through technology and through the blockchain that we can exit on the secondary markets. So we actually have the opportunity to have some liquidity and get out of a project and scale out a project without having to do these private sale deals, which is how most venture capitalist firms do. So in some sense, this is one of the reasons that I really like NFTs, is that it allows little guys like us to, instead of needing a fund of millions of dollars, that we can actually go in and get little pieces of these companies early on as an angel investor, as a venture capitalist, and we have the ability to sell out when we need to.
Sorry, just whenever you're done, I want to bring some relevance to this, to the NFT space as well.
Go for it.
And the relevance is that the NFT space is so young right now, and it's full of these DJ mints and full of traders and investors who are looking for this quick buck. And the reason that we're so passionate and so pushy and so I don't have another word other than passionate about venture capitalism and the way that we invest into these companies is because in say 12 months, 18 months time, there isn't going to be another way to do this, because this space is it's maturing so quickly. The amount of information we're getting, the way that these companies are set up, moving from DGen mints to actual companies is happening so fast. So in 12 months time, there's going to be such a small amount of these DGen mints and these quick flips that the space is going that way anyway. So we have an opportunity now, while the space is so young, to be learning how to do our due diligence and learning how to think like a venture capitalists, get involved in these companies super early on that are standing out from the crowd right now, because in 12 to 18 months, the whole space is going to be that way. There's major corporations coming in, your Googles, Apples, Amazons, your Walmarts, all these kind of corporations are going to be completely infiltrated in this space in the next year, 2 years. And that's being generous, because anyone that's been in this space for more than 3 or 4 weeks knows that all these companies are already doing it. Starbucks, they're already into NFTs. We saw Kevin Hart. Not that he's a company, he's more of an influencer in the space, but you're seeing these bigger people and these bigger corporations starting to come in and starting to take over. So we're trying to get people into that mindset now, so that by the time that happens completely, and we've completely or near enough completely weeded out the flipping and the degen mints and all this kind of stuff, that you're ready to capitalize on these things. And not only are you ready to capitalize on these things, but you've actually already got some solid, genuine companies under your belt, like HydroWabs. By the time big corporations are coming in, we've already got a tool belt worth of companies that we're, venture capitalists into, who will have matured incredibly by the time that we get there. And our returns probably, that's coming into the lower end of our time frame of expected returns. So we might even have more capital then to deploy for these bigger companies that are coming in that need the due diligence and are actual companies. So that's kind of the relevance to the NFT space.
And to be fair, I think there's still going to be a lot of, as we said, degenments and hype projects, and that's okay. And there will be lots of people that get into it, but most of them end up getting wrecked. How many people are really making money on that style of trading? We see these YouTube videos where it's like, look at this 18-year-old, he made 50K. And it's like, okay, like you did that for like what, once? Where are you now? People that, made bank on getting early in on Board a Yacht Club, like that's great. All the power to them. But, let's be honest here. A lot of it's just timing and luck. So how do we take that probability, increase the probability that you're going to get lucky, that you're going to get that huge opportunity and that huge mint? That's what we're trying to do when we're investing as a venture capitalist. Let me tell you now an actual strategy that we use for our treasury when we invest. Generally speaking, I understand everybody's got their limited capital, so money's tight. I get it. So we're talking in an ideal scenario. When we invest as our treasury, we're minting at least 3, ideally 4 or more NFTs. And then we set targets that we scale out of. And so if we have 4 NFTs, we'll almost always set our first sale at 4x, whatever the mint was or whatever we bought in at. That way we recoup our losses, or not our losses, our investment. So everything from that point on is gravy. It's break even. Then you set your next targets. I would separate them depending on the project and what your expectations are, but anywhere from sell the next one at 10x, the next one at 30, 40x, and then you have one that you leave as a runner that you hold as long as you believe that there's still growth potential in the company. And that could be years and years. I just saw an interesting video about, I think it was Sequoia investing in Amazon. It was like one of their biggest mistakes was selling out at 40x. And they, instead of approaching it of not just looking at when do I hit my 20x or 30x, 40x, but asking the question of how many more years do we see growth of this company? So as long as you still see growth ahead, you always want to at least be holding one. And that is for your emotional sanity. Because if you only buy one NFT and you get in a really good project, you will be so distraught because you won't know what to do. Because if you sell and it keeps going, you're going to kill yourself. And if you sell, or if you don't sell, but then the project collapses, you're going to kill yourself. Maybe that's too harsh a term, but we've had those experiences. I'm sure many of you have had those experiences. Shout out if you've had something similar like that. And that's why you set strategies of having multiple NFTs, allowing for multiple exits. So we're always recommending buying multiple NFTs, scaling out, protecting yourself, covering your investment, and then everything from that point on, enjoy the ride. One last, and we can touch on this maybe a little bit later, but one other thing to remember is that when you are an investor and a venture capitalist, when you buy into these projects, let's go back to the traditional investment world. When they invest in these projects, do they just sit back and don't do anything afterwards? No. They become partners of the company. They become the company's biggest advocates. They're the ones behind the scenes creating connections, helping them to find the next CEO, helping them build out their marketing team, helping them meet the right customers or clients that they're looking for. And that's another reason why we are venture capitalists, in the sense that as an investor, we are in this with you guys now. Tyler, me, Harry, we are investors of Hydro Mining Whales Company. Now we will do everything in our power to push this brand, to push this company. And that's also the beauty of the NFT space, is that we can all partake in this. And that is why it checks all the boxes for us when we look at NFTs, is to not be flippers. All of our alpha calls, we have an alpha channel in the Hydro Mining Whales Club. If you don't know, we do this with several other great projects where we are vetting and making calls on NFT companies that we like. And if you'll know, we never do flips. That doesn't mean that I don't appreciate people that can flip. It means that we are investing as venture capitalists. We're investing in the long term, and we're looking for those next 10x, 20x, 50x gains. And we also then become partners and the biggest proponents of these brands. Awesome. So let's go into detail, Tyler, about how we find the next good companies. Now that we've understood what we're trying to do, what our expectations are, and what are we doing as an investor, what kind of companies do we go look for? What kind of requirements on our checklist? If you want to go.
I mean, I'm gonna hit on the very first one, and it's the biggest one. And you actually said it there in your question. You said, Tyler, what kind of companies are we looking for? And that's the first thing that we're looking for, is we're looking for companies. So when you find a project or something that there's some people behind it who are just having a go, or people who are just wanting to make some money, or a quick buck or something like that, that's not a company. You're looking for people like Hydro Whales Mining Club. You're looking for someone like, the whitelist.io. You're looking for someone like Alpha Traders Country Club. You're looking for, these companies where they actually are running this like a business. So you're looking, and it's something that I don't even have to go into, because the difference between a project and a company. And I'm sure, for anyone that's in our Discord, that's in, Sam's Discord, that's in, any of these other company Discords, there's a big difference between what they're experiencing in a company of an NFT project or an NFT company versus a project, a degen mint, these kind of things. So one of the things we're looking for is how much legitimacy is behind that. Is the team taking this seriously as a company, as a business, as their future? Or are they just doing this for a quick buck? So legitimacy is possibly the biggest thing that we look for, and that's something that you don't need a whole checklist for that. You don't need to be checking little pieces of the pie off and all that kind of thing. Straight away, you go into the company and you're like, this is legit, and they're taking this legitimately, and they're very professional, and they're actually doing this for the long run. They have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 50-year plan. Or is this something that the whole thing's built around me selling it in the next week? Do you agree with that, Martin?
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that NFT projects can't have fun. Like, we're not saying that you have to be super serious and solemn. Like, our PFPs are pictures of sloths in Central America. We have so much fun on our Discord. You guys are whales that are carrying around like mining equipment. Like, it's fun, guys. This is let's not take away from the fact how exciting and fun all of this can be. But what we mean by serious is that the founders have a plan. And when we look at our checklist, there's really one main factor that's always the most important, and that is your due diligence on the founding team. Because what did I say in the beginning? When you are investing in startup businesses, which is what we're doing, you're investing in people, because there's no system built yet. There's no awesome software that's already being used and clients are buying it. No, like, it's usually an idea of a software or a beta of a software, or it's a game that we want to make, or it's, a mining rigs that we want to buy. These are plans. executed by people. So you're investing in the person. So first thing, 100% needs to be doxed. And doxed is like the minimum threshold. So we don't look at any projects where a founder's not doxed. I know that we might miss out on some big hyped mints. I don't care. And like any venture capitalist, again, as a venture capitalist, can you imagine investors investing their money where they don't even know who the founders are? How can you put your money into something that you can't, where the people won't even be open about who they are? And you can get into privacy, and there's this Web3 culture about privacy, but that's not friendly to the investor. And as an investor, you need to protect yourself, and you need to make sure that what you're putting your money into, you know exactly who it's going to. Then that's just the very first piece. Not only do you have to be open about who the team is, but you have to make sure that they are the team that's capable of executing this vision, because lots of people have great ideas. I've had so many ideas. I know Tyler has ideas every day about great projects that we could start, great companies that could be realized, or products or services. But are we the ones that can execute it? Do we have the background? Do we have the capability to invest, to realize this vision? And that's the biggest task that any venture capital firm or due diligence, this is what they're doing. They're not just saying how great is the product. They're saying, are these the right people to make this product? So
this is something that I've just pulled up now, and this is Hydra Whales. This is their website. This should be the very, very first thing and the most important above everything else thing that you check when you find a company. So let's say you find a company, and that company's called Company 123. When you start your due diligence on that company, the first thing you want to do is find the team. Just like this. If they have their team profiles and everything on their website, you don't want to go on there and say they're doxed. That's a 2 thumbs up. Great, move on. This is good. You want to give a 2 thumbs up to them doxing, and then you want to research. You want to go in. You see Sam there. You see he's got his LinkedIn. Click on that LinkedIn. Start going through what's he done in the past. What kind of experience does he have? Has he got history in the field that he's doing now? Is he capable of moving this company forward to the point where my investment is going to appreciate drastically at that?
This is a great question.
And you're going through every single one, because there's no company that takes one person. Howard Schultz by himself did not grow Starbucks by himself. And that's a big thing, is that you don't need one person. You need a whole team. So you're going through the whole team, and you're seeing where they're at, what their experience is, what their expertise is, what they bring to this company, why they're the right team. Do the team mesh well? Are you watching their communication in the Discord, in their YouTubes? Are you watching this thing? Have they got a great connection? Do they not have a great connection? That's one of the biggest assets between myself and Martin, is I talk over him a lot and he lets me. So it's a great. So no, but that's one thing that, it's the little things that you don't think about. You think, I just want to make money. I just want to make money. But that's the end goal. You should be coming into this making decisions, not making money. So you start by making decisions and making the right decisions, and then the money comes. So doing this kind of work is the exciting part. This is the part that needs to be done. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I don't want to make this a whole Hydra Whales show, but it's just something that it's one of the first ones that popped up to my mind, that they're very transparent about everything.
So yeah, and again, Hydra Whales is doing it right, and that's why we're investing in Hydra Whales. And on top of looking at LinkedIn, on top of looking at the resume, the next step comes in just talking to them, whether that's through an AMA or a private call. Get in there and talk to them, or at least be in the room where they're talking with people, because that's where you can see if their skills are lining up to all the things that they're saying and that's written in LinkedIn. Every single investment that we make, we get on direct calls with the founders. Every time. Well, we did buy in other deeds. Yes, there's always some exceptions. But usually you always want to get in the room virtually with these founders and talk to them if you can, because that's another great way to assess not only are they capable, but are they passionate about it. Ask the right questions. Make sure this is something that they're focused on for years to come. I remember some of the easiest ways to be turned off to a project is when somebody's like, oh, and then in a few years time, I'm going to go do something completely different. Sometimes founders actually say stuff like that. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this for a couple of years, and then afterwards, I'm going to become, I'm studying to become a dentist, or in a few years. These are real stories, by the way.
I was about to say that.
Or I'm about to graduate, and then I'm going to go to Europe, and I can't commit because there's so many other projects that I want to get into. But like I promised that for the first 2 years, I'm all about this. I'm like, very quickly, you can realize that these are things you need to stay away from, because you need to find not only great people, but people that are committed to this vision for the long term.
And that's something that we actually find. We actually get on a lot of calls, and myself and Harry are on many calls a day. Sometimes upwards to 10 plus calls a day with founders and different startups. Now, it's funny because the passion and the obsession kind of overrides everything. We even find a lot of calls that we get on, some people may not have the concept, they may not have the company, they may not have that, but they're completely and utterly obsessed. Their life revolves around this, and it takes such a huge priority on our list, because that can't be taught, and that can't be obtained by doing a little bit of yoga. That's something that, are you dead passionate about this, or are you not? And one of the things that we get caught up on a lot with founders when we're in these meetings is they want to talk about the business. And the thing that to show you guys that not only are we teaching that we're talking about this, but we're actually preaching it as well, is we will have these conversations with founders, and we talk for a little bit about the company and about what their concept is and how they're going to roll things out and their marketing plan and all the fun stuff. But the part that we ask about their hobbies. What do you do for fun? What do you do for income outside of this? Are you financially set up? Like what do you find enjoyment out of? What are your flaws? Like, we get personal with them, because the person and the personality behind the team is what actually matters. That is what is driving this company, nothing else.
Hey, there's a good question here that I'm sorry we're not getting to more questions. We should be, but it says, what are your thoughts by CA1 Doctor? What are your thoughts on KYCs and audits? And that's a great question. My thoughts are they are almost meaningless. It is because it's such a low threshold. Like, yes, it's nice that, there's been an audit and there's been a KYC, but that doesn't mean that you're a good investment. That doesn't mean that the team's committed. That doesn't mean that the team has put their life, out there and said, this is what I'm doing to the world. Because one of the important things about being doxed is not, to make sure he's not a scammer. Nobody on their profile says I'm a scammer. It's to know that, are you willing to put your reputation, your name, your livelihood on this project?
We have
and a little KYC certification or whatever doesn't show you that. So I think it means very little. If I go into a Discord or website and I'm not seeing a really easy way to learn about the founders, more than a profile pic with a title, like, it's a no-go. And guys, let's be clear here. That doesn't mean that all those projects won't work. But when you are spending your money, why take the risk when there are projects that you can find that check off all these boxes? People are telling me sometimes, well, I think some people might be thinking, oh man, if we really have this rigorous requirement, then I'm going to miss out on so many mints. Yeah. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give all of you in order to become more profitable is stop minting so much. Stop minting so much crap. 95%, 96, I don't know the exact number, are all just going to turn to crap. Be more selective. Set higher expectations. Spend more hours researching and waiting for the right projects than just saying, "Hell, you know what? I've got some money in my wallet. I want to invest in something. I'm going to go buy something today." That's why we're being successful in this bear market. We are a group that is constantly looking for good projects, and yet we've only, for the last 2 months, we've only invested maybe in like 10 max, which is a lot, actually.
It's incredible.
But you know how many come through our door? Hundreds. So be more selective. Come to a project. It looks really cool. Really cool designs, really cool artwork. I love that. It's a really cool game. Founders aren't docs. Well, I'll make an exception on this one.
Yeah, I've got something as well. Another practical point, and it's something that my voice is getting tired of preaching this, because I get asked it every single day. One of the things we preach on is just going back to the doxing thing, is getting on a call with the founders and making that personal connection and actually starting to get to know them. Now, every single time I have said that, or myself and Martin have preached that, our DMs fill up and say that's not. You can't do that. You can't just reach out to a founder and they're going to happily get on a video call with you. That's just not going to happen. And you're right. A lot of the times it doesn't. But there's so many different ways to go about it. And if you guys saw in the start of this YouTube live, I posted, I said it out loud, and I said in the YouTube chat, this is your opportunity. You're looking for these interactive moments. This call that, if Sam was having a call with us about investing into us, this is all of your guys' chance as well to interact, ask these questions, treat this as your phone call. Jump in the Discord, ask your questions, and ask if you can create a ticket, and hammer all your questions out there, and make sure that you're getting onto a founder. These kind of things. Like, there's so many different ways to go about it, but actually having these interactive moments is huge. But a lot of the time, people, they listen to them, or they might listen to a Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces is an incredible time, by the way, to do this, and a great opportunity. But they'll listen to them, and then they'll come away, and then they'll say, "Oh, I'm still trying to get on a call with them." I'm like, that's your opportunity. That's your chance. That's great. You've got to look outside the box sometimes. Discord, Twitter, YouTube lives, Instagram DMs, tickets. There's so many different ways to go about it if the founder themselves is not willing to jump on a Zoom call with you. And then, start thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Hey, I don't mean to veer off, but it's just too good of a question. Tyler, can you answer this? If we buy into ATCC, are we buying into a structure that invests for us with our mint, or a group that shows us what to invest in, or both, or more?
So I answered that very quickly already whilst you were talking. I wrote both, which was a huge understatement. And I kind of wish I didn't write that. I wish I wrote so much more. But
yeah, well, okay, I'll go over real briefly to expand on Tyler's both. So Alpha Traders Country Club, if you guys like what we're talking about, by the way, every single one of our holders is invested in hydro whales. And if they're not, they should be, because we promote the crap out of hydro whales because we love it. It's one of our biggest holdings. But we also ask that, hey, any hydro whales, come be an ATCC member, because what we do is we are constantly looking for good projects to invest in, doing that due diligence with our Alpha Council and in our Discord. And then we make investments with our treasury. So we as a company have a pool, a fund that we invest in, and then we pay out profits every 6 months to our holders. So you're getting the double advantage of not only finding good projects, but then you also are getting a passive income play, getting rewards from what we invest in. We're also not just investing in NFTs. We also have shorter term trades that we do that are crypto based. So we trade cryptocurrency and we trade stocks. So yeah, we'd love for you guys to come in. Well, like I said, we've got a really cool, I don't want to call it a giveaway, but a really cool discount program that we want to offer Hydro Wells, and we'll do it at the end of the session here. So we'll get to that. All right. Let's see. Are there any more questions before we move on?
No, not that I'm.
What are your KYCs? Do you think all NFTs will need a utility like Hydro Wells? That's a good question. I think that utility is a really broad term, right? So my basic answer would be yes. Any NFT project, unless it's art, unless you're just literally buying the NFT for the sake of owning that NFT code, you need some sort of utility. And that utility can be really hardcore utility like Bitcoin being mined to you. But it can also be utility of a game. You know, maybe it gives you access to an avatar of something that you want to play. That's enjoyment. That's utility. It could be utility to be in a club that gives you access to alpha like ours. It could be a utility to take part in some type of IRL events. So yeah, I think you need utility. Projects that don't have utility definitely don't attract me, at least.
There's like, let's look at it like this, and it's a very personal question. So saying, questions like, is this a good investment? Do they need utility? All these kinds of questions, they're very loaded questions. And with our, I apologize as well, there's a bit of noise in the background, but when we do alpha alerts in our server, in our Discord, and we're starting to do our due diligence on these companies, and we're putting it out there so that everyone can see the work that we're doing in these companies, we break it down into 3 categories. And it's an alpha alert, a passion alert, and a utility alert. And this is something that you guys can do yourself, and something that we do ourselves personally as well. So when you find a company, you've got to ask yourself why you're investing in it, because why you're investing in it might be completely different to why Martin's investing in it, or I'm investing in it, or Sam's investing in it, or it might be different to why everyone else is investing in it. So is it, our alpha alerts are for monetary gain. So, or primarily for monetary gain. So we're actually making an investment into the company, looking for that 20x, 40x, 50x return over the next, 2 to 5 plus years. Now, a passion alert is something that we are investing in because it fulfills a part of our life. So it might be like there's a lot of football NFTs going around where you can buy into a football club, and you can have say in like what the football club does, and there's even some that there's like fantasy leagues and things like that. You're not getting a monetary gain on that necessarily, but it's filling something that you're passionate about. And that's great. That's an investment. It may not be a venture capitalist investment, but I'm kind of directly speaking to this question here. So I'm kind of going off on a bit of a tangent, but there needs to be a reason that you're investing in this company. And if that's because it's fulfilling a part of your life in some way and enhancing it, phenomenal. That's fine. But you need to leave the money aspect out of it and then invest in it for that reason. And then the utility alerts that we give out are for things that improve and enhance our trading and investing journey. So it might be tools and different sites that give us different information on different companies, these kind of things. So that it actually enhances the first 2 requirements that we need. That was a little bit of a tangent, so I'm going to try and cut that pretty short. But it also does bring up one of the other requirements that we're looking for in these companies is, does the company fill a gap or a need in the market? So if if there's a part of the market that's completely oversaturated, and there's clear and defined winners in the space already, and it's got a lot of history behind it, and someone's coming in with nothing that's separating them, nothing that's, you know, they're not filling any need or any gap in the market, then, you know, it's not to say that they're not going to make it, but the likelihood of them making it's a lot less than someone who is a front runner in an industry, someone that's changing the game in some way, someone that's found a need and they've found a solution for that need, which is something that we always look for as well. We're not looking for the 17th derivative of Bored Ape Yacht Club, because a high net worth club has been established, it's done, and there is some clear winners. So a community driven, you know, club like that, we're not looking for that anymore, because that need has been more than filled. So you need to look for things that are filling a gap. Sorry, a bit of a tangent there. Apologize.
No, it's all good. There was one other question before we get into our Druid Rick. You hang on there. I've got something for you at the end of this. If you're worried about being priced out of our mint, out of our NFT. It says, what are your thoughts, Kingston's World, what are your thoughts on finding a project late or even right before they mint and not having enough time to do your own research to get in at a cheaper entry? And this is something that I think is, I've never talked to Tyler specifically about this, but I know his answer. And we deal with this as stock traders and crypto traders a lot as well. And I think there is a great acronym that we all know, and that is the fear of missing out, FOMO. And what happens when you are short on time and you feel like, as you just said, you're into a project late, you make rushed, impulsive decisions because you don't want to miss out. And that behavior is not something you want to reinforce. So even if you miss it, even if you don't get it at the best price, that is better than reinforcing the bad behavior of FOMOing into things, doing things without doing the due diligence, doing things rushed. Don't do it. You might get lucky and you might turn out to be a great investment and you make some money. Or you could get wrecked because you didn't do all your research and it turns out to be a shitty project. So again, this goes back to what Tyler says, and this is what we do as traders in the stock market, especially, is we focus not on how much money we want to make, we focus on making good decisions. Being a successful trader or a successful investor is not rating your success on your P&L. It's rating your success on were you disciplined and did you make good decisions in the moment. And if you can increase the amount of good decisions you make in the long run over a large sample size, you will do well. And so that leads me to another question of, for our payouts that we're going to make on December 1st, that will be our first airdrop of profits. Do we have an estimated payout? And the answer is no, because our focus is on making good trades and good investments, not on setting financial targets. Because once you start setting financial targets, that's when you start making bad decisions because you feel pressured to hit something, or like, oh, I just got to go a little heavier, or I just got to make that one extra trade. I got to find that one extra project. I haven't found that project that has mooned yet. We're not going to hit our target. And then you go and start making the wrong decisions about things.
I've got another point on that actually as well, Martin. And it's a bit of a deeper point. And the point is, if you're finding that you're getting into a project and there's not enough time to do your due diligence, you're already in the wrong company. Already, wipe it. Do not mint it. And the reason is that one of the biggest things we're looking for is companies. If a company's going to be around for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, what's 5 minutes? Why does 5 minutes matter?
Or a week.
Yeah, or a week. If you can't spend the time to do your due diligence, even if you miss the mint and you've got to buy on secondary, even if the price goes up or the price goes down, whatever it may be, the price isn't the point. The point is, if you don't have time and you don't allow yourself that time, or that's you trading off of emotions. If the company doesn't allow, or the project doesn't allow you the time because things are happening too quickly, that's you wipe it already, because they're going to, if they're going to be around for, as I said, forever, 5 minutes a day, a week, it doesn't matter. And if it does matter, it's a huge red flag.
Yeah, and that goes back to the idea of, remember, these are long-term investments that we're making when we do NFT investments. And so that company should be around, and there should be lots of potential for it to grow a week, a month from now. And don't be worried about bottom ticking. Like and then this is going back to stock trading and swing trading that we do. Like, the goal is not to bottom tick. Like, that would be nice, meaning that you get in at the very lowest price. But that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is increase the probability that we're going to make good investments. And that means that we buy in at the right times, where we see technical indicators or we see fundamentals pointing towards this going up from this point on. And so that requires patience. Sometimes we have to wait for a dip. If I know what it's like to be in a mint that skyrockets the first few days and you get the FOMO and it's like, oh, I missed it. Generally, you know that there's a dip after mint. You'll find opportunities to get back in. And let's say you don't. Let's say it just goes up and up from there. Well, then you just need to assess that in the long run, will this continue to go up? And let's say that you just make the decision that, you know what, unlikely. Well, then move on. There are so many more projects to look into. Every single day, there's NFT projects coming online. And most of the investments we've made with our treasury were not for mint. So we don't have a philosophy that we have to get things at mint.
Also, on that note, and I really want to hammer this home, there is no, and you guys can see, everything is transparent, right? So you can see every investment we've made, every project that we're holding, all our wallets, everything. Every single one of those investments that we have made has not been made in an hour. It hasn't been made in a day. It hasn't even been made in a week. It's been made over a sustained period of time where we're having meetings after meetings. Myself and Martin will speak for hours upon hours about, their revenue streams, their sustainability model, like everything. Like these decisions that we're making are happening over with usually, sometimes months. Even before, it's July now. Even before we started making our first investments with the treasury, we already knew some of the projects that we were, and the companies that we were going to be investing in, because we've been looking at them since March, April, and we've done all of the work to get there. So you won't see us find a project or a company and be like, oh, this is really good, and it ticks all the boxes. Let's just do it, because guarantee it doesn't tick all the boxes. We're just saying it ticks all the boxes because we're trying to do it as quick as we can. And you just won't see that, because it's just not something that we do. And once you do it once, you might do it again if you got lucky the first time. If you got lucky the second time, there's no reason why you're not going to do it the third time. And you're going to keep doing it until you're caught red-handed and with your pants down, and you've lost 90% of your portfolio. So it's something that, please take the time. Take the time. If you're in a rush to get into something and it needs to happen, it needs to happen because you're emotionally attached to the wrong thing. You're attached to what the value of your investment is going to look like tomorrow. You're not attached to what the value of your investment is going to look like in a year. And there's a huge difference. One of them's investing and one of them's degen minting. Call it what it is, even if it's a good project. If you're looking for something tomorrow, you're degen minting. On that note, we are coming up on an hour. We're about 30 seconds away from an hour. So shall we do a little bit of an opportunity for the community?
Yes, we have a great little exclusive. Again, it's not a giveaway, but it feels like a giveaway. We have or Tyler, why don't you do it, and then why don't you explain what we want to do for Casey Logan?
Yeah, so I've just started sharing my screen. Sam, if you could pull that up. We have a collection, where our club, you buy a sloth, and that's your membership into the club. You get everything with that one membership. There is no more phases. There's no more we're not going to be doing 50 drops of the one sloth for the one thing for the same utility, that kind of thing. Because realistically, we just didn't think of that kind of thing when we were minting. But this is our collection. As you guys can see, we're at a 0.41 floor price, and we've got some really cool slots going on. Now, we're not in massive agreements with doing giveaways and that kind of thing, because we're very valuable.
Bro.
Pardon? The point is, our current floor price is 0.41, and we're looking to give 5 Hydra Whales members the opportunity to mint one at 0.2, which is a 50% discount of what the floor is at right now. You will recoup that investment immediately with education, knowledge, and useful tools. On that note, to get that, you need to go into our Discord, tag KC Logan, and the first 5 people, you tell him he's great, tell him he's amazing, whatever you need to tell him. The first 5 people that he replies to, we will be keeping watch. He doesn't know about this, so it might take a couple of hours. And the first 5 people he replies to get that spot will contact you directly, and we'll organize this.
Can you type in his username? And by the way, Casey Logan is a great member of ours. He's also on the Stock Alpha Council, stock trader. He's been going through a bit of a rough time in his personal life, and we just want to show him some love and let him know how much we appreciate him. So this is a deal that we're doing exclusively with Hydra Whales because we want to support each other, and this is how we do it. And so again, for any ATC Sloth members that are watching this, because I know some of you are in here, if you're not buying Hydra Whales yet, you should be. We're heavily invested, not only with our treasury, me personally as well. And if any Hydra Whale users here, our members here, are interested in also supporting the Alpha Traders Country Club, going through the mental exercises that we did here today, it's something that we're always reinforcing. Come and join our club, and the first 5 members that at AC Logan and get a reply, we will, from our community wallet, make a 50% trade with you at 0.2 ETH.
Thank you for having us, Sam, by the way. Really appreciate your time. I appreciate everyone that's come out. I appreciate what you guys do for the community. I'm super pumped to get involved in companies early. Is what we've preached for the last hour is about getting into good companies early. So we're super pumped to be connecting with you at such an early stage, and you guys connecting with us. There's so much synergy here, and I appreciate your time and appreciate what you guys are doing.
No, we really appreciate you guys coming on here and doing this masterclass. I mean, you guys have, an extensive background and experience in doing this. And I think this is one of those kind of masterclasses everyone needs to listen to, because I think you follow these steps. It's almost like the dummy's way to be successful when investing into any NFT project, because like you were saying, it's about not investing in so many projects. It's just, picking out the top ones, because 95% of the ones you're doing are just gonna flop. They're not gonna do well. It's more about spending that time going through all those guidelines you guys have set out and just getting those 2-3 good ones, every couple of months. They're the ones that are going to provide, returns in the longer term. And you got to have that long-term mindset. You could 20-40 exit in 3-4 years down the line. I mean, the NFT space is still very, very early. And I know we had a kind of a hype train with the bull market, but you want to see where this place is going to be in 3-4 years.
Yeah,
I have posted your guys' socials in the Discord again. I told everyone how to enter as well, so you hopefully see a few Hydra Whalers hopping on there. For any hydro whales listening, we do own, we own a sloth ourselves, and obviously we have a multiplier card because we subscribe to the Alpha Alerts channel. So I'm sure a lot of you holders already appreciate the amount of content we get from these guys, all of the info. I know we act on it personally as well, and I think we've already got quite a few holders that do. So definitely hop onto their Discord and check them out.
I actually, I seen we posted a passion alert the other day for a company that, as I said before, isn't necessarily going to be a monetary gain, but for something that fills a need in our lives, and it's for Metabrew Society, which was they're an awesome beer company, and we started going through and we saw some incredible things that they're doing, really legitimate. And I went in, I posted the Alpha Alerts, and I went in their Discord and I was like chatting with them, and there was like hydro whales like popping up everywhere. I was like, oh, this is great. It was like, it's awesome to see that they were, not only were they coming in and getting all hyped up, but there was so many hydro whales people going in there and asking questions. And that's our whole goal. And there's so many people that come to us and they're like, we just want alerts, we just want calls. And we're like, well, we kind of do that, but we go through why and how and what you should be looking for and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, I don't want that. It's like, well, that's not for you then. And it's so nice to see these members and there's so many different members from so many different Discords that take our alerts. We're reaching over 200,000 people now. And there's people from these Discords who are going into these other Discords that we alert, and they're asking the questions. They're following the checklist and they're doing their due diligence, which is incredible. And it makes, look, like this is the passion we're kind of telling you guys to look out for, is things like this. Like this is why I wake up, to see people that are doing good shit. I love it. And it's so nice to see that. Sorry, that's my little passion tangent.
One quick last plug that I think is just worth mentioning, just so anybody knows. If you want to actually invest in the treasury where you don't always have the time to be managing the investments that we're making, you can buy a multiplier card. That's what Sam and the Hydro Whales did. And what that is where 96% of that purchase price goes directly into the fund, and that multiplies the amount of allocated profits you get of your sloth. So if you are a member, you're going to be getting airdrop profits every 6 months. If you're a member and you have a multiplier card, you can either 10x, 20x, or 50x your returns. Just something to think about for anybody that's looking to take advantage of our investments.
I'm pretty good. I feel like we've hit everything. I'm feeling exhausted and all pumped up. I'm all over the shop, but I feel like we've hit so much, and I hope that you guys can watch this again, because one thing I don't want is you guys to take this and then run with it. It's kind of like someone that does a little counseling or a little karate. It's really dangerous, because you do a little karate, you go out on the streets, and then you want to fight everyone. You know what I mean? You want to use your skills, and this is the same thing. Don't get a little knowledge and just go hammer and tong, throwing your bags at everything. You know, this is a dangerous stage that we've actually put you guys in, because we've given you enough knowledge to make you feel confident, like you're moving, but make sure you're continuously banking and adding and compounding that knowledge. Don't be the guy that has a little karate and goes out trying to karate kick people. It's a very dangerous game.
A 10x, quick, people are just asking the prices. A 10x multiplier is 2.16 ETH right now. And it's based off the average price of our NFT floor price, or not floor price, the average NFT price times 9. If it's a 20x, it's times 18. If it's 50x, it's times 45. But any of those details can be discussed in our Discord. So I just wanted to cap this off with saying thank you so much, Sam. If there is anything that you need from us, don't ever hesitate. We're ready to be your biggest supporters.
I think we might need you guys to hop on an AMA just in our Discord at some point. Just 30 minutes. I'm sure the holders would love to learn a bit more in detail about the project and you guys as well. We have
a secret phase that we're unveiling pretty soon here. It's going to be next Tuesday. It's Operation Phase 6. And we've been having over a month's worth of clue dropping, and we're gonna have a big reveal. And after that point, it might be great to hop in and
absolutely. What What date is that getting launched?
The reveal will be next Tuesday. And then we could set something up after that where we could also talk about it with the Hydra World community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, we've got our phase 4 launch on Tuesday. It's a busy week next week.
Well, I'll be there.
Makes two of us.
All right. Thank you so much, Sam.
Appreciate it, mate.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, once again for coming on. Everyone that's interested, please do check out the Alpha Traders Discord and Twitter. Just hop in there with a great community over there. I posted up the links in the holders announcements channel if you're interested. And I think you might still be able to win that competition if you tag Casey Logan in there and show them some Hydra love. But I'm sure they're getting spammed like crazy with messages.
All guys can wake up and not know what's going on.
You guys get hacked or something?
Just Hydra whales powering in. So what's going on?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. We will, whoever gets responded by Casey Logan, we will tally that and we will at you. So make sure you keep our Discord open so we can get in touch with you.
Good luck with that, everyone. That's a great prize to win.
Enjoy.
All right.
Catch you guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.